got done dropping off the block for the CJ7 at the machine shop. In the last video, we had a little bit of trouble with cam fitment. It wouldn't go all the way into the engine, so it should be a pretty quick turnaround time at the machine shop by the end of the week, he said. In the meantime, though, the old XJ, big surprise, needs to go to the shop. We have a little bit of an exhaust leak. As you can maybe tell, the spot where the O2 sensor goes into the exhaust manifold broke right off, and that's what we're left with. We're gonna get back to the shop, pull off the intake manifold, get the header off, see if we can weld it up, get it fixed. After that, we're gonna try and fix the driveline vibration I've been having trouble with. A couple of you guys suggested I do a transfer case drop, so I picked one up. We'll install that, see if that fixes our problem. All right, let's get her in there. Have a listen. We're there. Here's the O2 sensor that broke off at the weld right there. Let's see if I can show you. Dive down here. There it is. And that's where it broke off. So we gotta get the air box out of the way, all these cables. The real pain in the butt though is the bolts that hold on the intake manifold, and they're also shared with the exhaust manifold. There's like 5 on the top, but more specifically the 4 on the bottom are really hard to get to. You can't even see them. Luckily, this is still pretty fresh in my mind. Back a few months ago when we had Cream Puff, the other XJ project, I had to do this like 3 or 4 times, taking it on and off and on and off. Hopefully it's not too bad. Got all the other stuff out of the way. Now it's just the intake manifold and those bolts that are hard to get to. This guy's here. Hey, bud.
Hey, bud.
So I guess what we'll do is crack some of them top ones loose to kind of gauge how tight they are. Wrong size. Amateur. Amateur hour. Whoop. Not bad. And I did put these on myself probably 5 years ago, so at least they're not like factory tight from 20 years ago. Oh, we'll be all right. Let's see what happens. All right, got all the bolts out, and I'm getting the bottommost difficult one, and this is what it looks like. We're getting it. Oh, cut! Taking out the last top bolt. Now the exhaust manifold is still held in by its own 2 bolts. There's one there, one in each corner. So this should get rid of all the shared bolts. Stand by. Waiting.
Never see that again. Or that.
Oh, did we miss one? We'll be right back. We confirmed on the other 4-liter that's in the other room that we did get all the bolts, so just need some motivation. Maybe I should put it the other way. Is it motivated?
That's looser. Do you want to release it? Oh, yeah. There's a dowel back there.
There is a dowel.
There she goes.
There it is. Nice. Oh, stupid bung. It's easy from here. Just gotta take off the 2 bolts, go into the cats, and then the corner, and then the corner mounting bolts for the header. Let me show you them bolts on this other block I got here, so you can see how difficult they were. So there's 5 up top. Those are all easy. And then the first 2 on the bottom aren't hard to get to. One there, one there. And then this back, it was still pretty hard to get to, but not as bad as that one, especially with the aftermarket header, but I got it.
Oh, mother.
This is the loose one.
Ready?
Yeah,
Fire.
cool. Got the flanges freed up right there. Now we just got the corner bolts. Manifold comes out. Shaboop. Shaboop. Out we go. Sweet. It's the next day. Welcome back. Got the exhaust manifold out. Nice empty engine bay now. Got some of the vacuum lines cleaned up while we were in here. That was a tangled mess. Plan is, today we're going to take the exhaust manifold over to Evan's shop. We're going to grind this old weld off and then see if we can re-weld it. I'm going to keep this old O2 sensor in there. That way we can hold it. Got a brand new one right here, ready to go. And then cleaned up this intake manifold gasket the best I could in the parts washer over yonder. The intake manifold itself, got it ported, polished, or just wiped down with a rag. So that's ready to go. So we'll load up. We're gonna take the old C10 here. Now, I took it out this morning to get gas and it's still kind of running funny. If you remember in the last episode, it about left us down the road. So real quick before we go, I'm gonna pull it in here, see if we can get some tuning done on the carb and get it running right. So last time, the rear float was way too high. It was just dumping fuel. So we'll start there. All right, see what we can do. First thing I'll do here is check that rear float. I suspect fuel will just dump out of there. Put some rags in place. Let's go on and see what happens here. So it's not like spraying out like it did last time, but it is trickling out even though the truck's just sitting here level. It shouldn't be doing that. That float needs to be adjusted. Let's pull this front one, see if that's still good. See, that one's good. So if I rock the truck a little bit, fuel should trickle out of that, which it does. I don't know if you can see that too well. So front float height is good. I'm not gonna mess with that. To adjust this float height, I'm gonna crack open this flathead set screw like that. Oh, it's just pouring out of there. Then I'll take this 5/8 wrench and just go ahead and tighten this up. My homemade gaskets are in the way a little bit. Let me just take this all the way out. Well, that's interesting. I just tightened it so far that actually dropped down and I can't even get a bite on it anymore. So if this isn't low enough for our float height, we might be looking at some kind of carb rebuild in the near future. But hopefully this is enough to get us by. I did probably put 2 or 3 turns on it, so we'll see what that does for us. Snug it back up. Now I'm just gonna turn the truck over real quick, just enough to fill those bowls back up with fuel. Then we can see where our level's at. Just get the fuel pump cranking a couple times. It already sounds better. All right, let's go ahead and check that float. Checking. All right, plugs out. Let's rock the truck. And look at that, it's just trickling out. So I think our float is set. Unfortunately, like I said, we're at the bottom of our adjustment, so hopefully no further adjustment is needed. That ought to get us by for now. Real quick, since we adjusted the floats anyway, I think I'm just gonna retune this whole carb. Let me show you how I do that. First thing we're gonna do is reset our curb idle screw here. So we're gonna bring it all the way out until that linkage doesn't move anymore. No movement in that throttle. So maybe you can see that linkage is moving. Just back it out till it stops moving. So that's right about there. From there, just one full turn in like that. Then our idle mixture screws, got one right there and one right there. We're gonna take them all the way in like that and then come out 1.5 turn, 1 turn, half turn. Same deal over here, all the way in, 1 turn, half turn. With that setup, we should be able to just fire it right up. Now we'll wait for the truck to completely heat up to operating temp, then we'll make our little fine adjustments. She's warmed up, let's get her dialed in. I don't know if you can hear me over there. First, I'm gonna adjust the curb idle to get it at the idle I want. I'm gonna back it out until I start to hear that cam chop a little bit. I like that idle. All right, I took a little bit more off that idle. I think it's about where I want it. So, now I'm gonna adjust these idle mixture screws to start bringing them in until I hear the engine bog down a little bit. Right there, kind of sputtered. So I'm gonna go half turn out from that spot. Right about there. So I'll come a half turn out from that spot. And that's where we'll set it up. And that gets it pretty close. Now this is more of a rough tune. What we could do is hook up a vacuum gauge and adjust those idle mix screws until we peak on vacuum. That way it's like scientifically better tuned. But let me know how you guys tune these carbs, how you get them dialed in. I'm curious to know. Let's get the truck back together, then we'll get back to the XJ. We'll load up that exhaust manifold and see if we can test our welding skills. Right on. Yes, sir. She is running good. I'd say we got this carb pretty well dialed in. Made it. Oh, hey, bud.
Hey, bud.
What do you get into?
Mufflers all together.
Oh, sweet. Check this out. I actually made a video on this, but didn't get around to posting it yet. It's a short, but this is what, 96? 96 OBS. And these are like 88, 89 style headlights on here. Took a little bit of modification to make work, but looks sweet. So who's the welder? Well, that ain't me. Whoop.
I'll put something on.
PPE.
I can't see nothing. Where am I grinding here?
Ooh. Whoa. Just put that out. Not too bad there, bud.
Don't judge me too hard. Oh, look at that. Nice bung, brother.
Well, looks good. Stress test. That's all the stress it's ever going to get. So.
Right. Probably more than I'll ever get.
Yep. Quality control pass. Also decided I'd reinforce this one just so it didn't happen again. So we are good to go. He's going to finish that up. Back to the shop. We're back. Get our new O2 sensor installed. We'll go ahead and throw that exhaust manifold back in and get it bolted up. One of these bolts on the flange broke off, so I'm gonna need some hardware for that. Don't forget the gasket. Coming in. Cool. So we can start this middle bolt, and then the two nuts that go on the end. And then this middle one isn't shared with the intake manifold, so we can tighten it all the way. Get some hardware started for the flanges. Those flange bolts were fighting me too much. They were all rusted out, so I went out real quick, picked up some new hardware, got those torqued down. So the exhaust manifold is on there nice and tight. We're now ready to throw the intake manifold back on. Let me show you a little trick here though to make your life a lot easier. Since the bolts are shared with the intake manifold, it's a good idea to get all these started a while. Actually, more than just a good idea, it's kind of required. Like, I don't know how you would even get this started with the intake manifold in here. Like, you can't reach your hand in here. I just thread them in a couple threads, make sure the washer is pulled back. We're ready for the intake manifold. Hopefully tightening the bolts for the intake manifold goes pretty well. So I'm gonna get this reassembled. Got her done, wasn't too bad, just took a long time. Let's fire it up, see how we did. The hell? Not sure what that high pitch noise is. Mine's smoking. Hopefully that'll work itself out. Check engine lights back on already. Dang it. Let's see what that's all about. What we got? 0 codes found. What are you talking about? Oh, there's 3 codes. O2 sensor heater, circuit bank 1. See, what is an O2 sensor heater? I don't even know. I'm gonna clear these again. All right. Anyway, I'm not too worried about that for now. Should be done under the hood here. We're gonna move on and install this transfer case drop. Hopefully getting rid of my driveline vibration. Let's actually take the Jeep out real quick and show you guys quick a little bit of what it's doing. Take off from a stop here. Right here. This is where it's the worst. About 30 miles an hour. You probably see the wheels shaking. Kind of just hear everything rumbling around. You can just feel the Jeep is bound up. So in the last video, we pulled the rear drive shaft, put it in 4-wheel drive, and then drove it around just with the front drive shaft powering the wheels. And the vibration completely went away. So that's how we narrowed it down to the rear end. And then yeah, a few of you guys mentioned about doing that transfer case drop, so we're gonna try it, see if it works. Right there you can hear the shackle on the bumper rattling around. It's pretty bad. It's actually very simple to install this transfer case drop. So those pucks I was showing you earlier up on the workbench, they're just gonna go between the frame rail here and the cross member. We have a bolt and a nut, and that's factory on XJ. So the bolt just comes out, then we'll have to get rid of the stud. Got the other side off already. Here's a piece of wheat. And I got a floor jack holding up the transfer case to support the weight. Let's see if we need to actually drop this cross member or if we can just lower everything enough to get our work done. Just enough to trash the motor mounts, but that's enough room to get in there, remove that stud. We'll be all right. The other side's good to go, so let me quick show you the jam nut setup to get this old stud out. So we'll thread a nut on here, and then with the second nut, we'll tighten them against each other. So now we'll see if we can just turn this top one to pull the stud out. And it's turning. Turns out it was not going. Plan B, vice grip. A very tight vice grip. Yeah. Let's see if we just trashed our threads for no reason or if we can get it. Oh, it's coming. Right on. Now we're cooking with grease. She's coming. All right. There she is. Get a little bit of anti-seize on the hardware. Get our puck. Now I'm not gonna tighten these all the way down just yet. All right, I got the other side started. Now I'm just snugging everything up. We'll be good to go. Let's let her down and see how we fare. Didn't hear anything pop or nothing. That's good. Time for a test drive. See if that did the trick. On the road again. same spot.
Let's do it.
So far, so good. Still has a little bit of like a shake right there at 30, but it is significantly better. It is barely not even shaking. It's like almost smooth. Oh, even there. Whoa. I'll be damned. That's the best Band-Aid fix I've ever done. Wow. This thing's in good shape now. Just got to figure out what that O2 bank heater code or whatever the heck that is. If you ever had a code like that, you got an XJ, let me know. Let me know what that was. Do you just replace the O2 sensors? Is it wiring? Something else? I don't know. Here we go. Oh, brother. You know, the funny thing about it is 8 years ago or whatever, when I put on this 3-inch lift kit, when I first got the Jeep, I bought the transfer case drop, the same one I just put on, the rough country, the same exact one. I was like, I don't need it. And it just sat on the shelf. And then like not that long ago, probably 2 or 3 months ago, I was cleaning out the shop. I was like, I never put this on, never gonna put it on again. And I chucked it. And I guess I should have kept it, because that's what we needed all along. Honestly, I kind of knew it was a Band-Aid fix the whole time. I was just holding out for the slip yoke eliminator, but the way I procrastinate, that's not gonna happen for a little while. We had the C10 we had to do. We got the CJ coming up. It's gonna be a little while for the XJ to get some attention. But CJ is almost done. I don't even need to put this thing back in the shop. It's ready to go back in service. That really is everything that needs done to the XJ. I just put a battery in it like a week ago. Should be set for a little while now. So that should about wrap it up for this one, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. We're gonna be building that 304 for the CJ real soon. Gonna pick it up from the machine shop probably on Monday. Then we'll get building that. So stay tuned. Anyway, take it easy. See you in the next one.